Landing the left hook and a right hand.
Nice kick, nice chopping kick.
Follows it with the left. Wanderlei smiling at him, and that is it.
If you look up the word old school in the MMA dictionary, then you'll see an image of Wanderlei Silva. The Brazilian berserker brawled like a demon. Defined the wild slobber-knocker genre.
Getting as good as he gets. Shooting. Beautiful right.
And stomped opposition into oblivion on an industrial scale.
Another stop. Make it faster, and he is finished.
Today we take a deep dive into the axe murderer's bloodthirsty path of destruction, which made him the king of Pride FC.
145 remaining round two, and Jackson walks into a right hand, and he's stunned. He's riddled. That's in the middleweight tournament.
Oh my God! Dwayne Jackson has been knocked out.
Young Silva often fought in the streets and at the age of 13 joined the famous shootbox team in Curitiba, home of the best South American strikers. He soon earned the nickname Mad Dog and won the National Thai Boxing Championship twice. By 18 years old, the Brazilian had tried his hand at Vale Tudo, a local no-holds-barred competition. After countless victories, the 20-year-old Wanderlei made a pro debut. Vand got the famous tattoo on the back of his head and participated in an old-school one-day IVC tournament. The quarterfinalist from the United States initially tried to establish close contact. However, Vand quickly forced him to look for consolation in the referee's arms. Not even voodoo magic could save the adversary in the semi-final. Silva dinged his skull, put him on a butcher's table, and let the meat pounders fly. Wanderlei made it to the final and instigated the usual last man standing massacre. The Mad Dog kept firing from all guns, including signature headbutts. The counterpart would occasionally find success and complain about Silva's cut. Vand tried his best to finish the job before the officials intervened. But when blood started flowing, the referee freaked out and cut the meeting short. The ferocious Brazilian turned around quickly and retaliated with a series of brutal victories, courtesy of old-school soccer kicks. Patented knees also served their fight-ending purpose. With matters going so well, a trip to the octagon seemed inevitable. In 1998, 22-year-old Vand was welcomed by Vitor Belfort. The owner of the fastest hands in the sport was crushing the opposition in his early UFCs.
Oh, big right hand landed by Belfort.
Good hands. Real fast hands by Belfort.
Needless to say, that when the Brazilian gangsters are throwing down, expect nothing less than a knockout.
Is wearing shoes, so he will not be able to strike with the feet. Oh, he does with the hands, though. Vitor Belfort is the winner. 44 seconds.
Silva recklessly ran into Phenom straights and took a nap in the first minute.
In UFC history.
To get back on the right track, Wanderlei went up against a wrestler and put the lethal knees into action again.
Gotta keep busy on the fencing, or Mario Yamasaki will separate him. There's a holy knee and another.
He's done. That's gonna do it.
And the fight is over. Wanderlei Silva.
From that moment on, Silva was known exclusively as the Axe Murderer. At the dawn of the new millennium, he crossed paths with Tito Ortiz for the vacant UFC belt.
Here we go.
The Brazilian strategy was to inflict damage in the stand-up.
Ortiz there.
Oh, he's got him in trouble.
And Ortiz is in trouble.
The big-headed American, on the other hand, was eager to lay and pray.
Leg takedown now has
Tito scored takedowns in every round and won by decision.
good hands of Wanderlei.
This defeat would be Vaughn's last for many years. Asian promoters took interest in the furious daredevil and invited him to Pride FC, where his historic run began. In 2000, the Japanese MMA giant captivated the combat sports sphere with a monumental Grand Prix. By assembling a dream team into a single-night open-weight tournament, Pride fulfilled the fans' wildest expectations with a bunch of landmark battles.
Big right hand by Derek Rivers is in.
The grandiose finale elevated the promotion's status to heights never seen before. At the same time, the UFC suffered from both financial problems and political obstacles. Due to a lack of choice, the best fighters on the planet were migrating to Japan in numbers. It was in the midst of this power shift that Wanderlei joined the organization. In January, he faced Bob Schreiber, a Thai boxing champion with a formidable punch.
And look at the way that fighter either. I think that
Nevertheless, Silva was a butcher to Bob's vegetarian.
not connecting, drives that knee up the center. Whoop. Went for the high kick, tried to trick him.
All of a sudden, the Brazilian played a gambit with a takedown
He's covering up. He should be trying to reach up
and snatched the only submission of his career.
See, like this. Oh, there it is. He's squeezing, and he tapped,
The change in style made the fans concerned, but in the shootout with Guy Metzger, bloody rivers were flowing again. The American decided to go toe-to-toe.
Left high kick, barely missed. Metzger going with right hand. They're trading.
With a creepy smile across his face, Vaughn launched a favela-style 1-2.
Way out. And Metzger. Oh! Guy Metzger's rocked.
Back on the feet, Silva sensed the enemy's life fade
Oh, Guy Metzger showing great heart. Oh!
and made a statement.
In trouble. Metzger's in trouble.
Nailing the opponent with the final hook, the Axe Murderer won the hearts of the Japanese public.
Hand over and over, knocking out Guy Metzger.
The unbeaten Dan Henderson was the next to enter the ring opposite Silva.
It's gonna be a war.
The granite-chinned warrior could have wrestled from the jump, but chose to test the Brazilian's power.
Beautiful right hand by Wanderlei Silva, dropping Dan Henderson down on his back.
From that moment on, the battle turned into a carnage carnival.
Position favors Henderson. Wanderlei winging away, catching.
Both contestants were falling down more often than soccer players on the field.
Wanderlei is hurt. Henderson chopping away. Good right hand. Henderson on top. Wanderlei's ready to go. Wanderlei coming in. Right hand by Wanderlei Silva. Dan shooting in. Good defense.
By the end of the opening 10 minutes, Wanderlei looked noticeably fresher.
From the inside, Henderson chopping away. Wanderlei flaring up and nothing landed.
He was in complete control.
Stomp kick there by Wanderlei. I don't know if it landed. He's got.
And literally held Hendo by the throat.
If he starts to get grounded and pounded. Oh, right hand.
In the second round, the slaughter continued with renewed momentum.
Wanderlei comes charged. Position. Uppercut by Henderson. Nice knee by Dan Henderson. And Henderson chopping with the uppercuts. Slugging it out. Dan Henderson giving as good as he gets. Shooting for the takedown.
And despite getting dropped repeatedly,
Trying for the kick. Dan trying to drop that right hand. Oh, Dan walking into a punch.
surrender never crossed Dan's mind.
Be happy. Okay, there it is.
A truly old-school fight between two unstoppable killers came down in favor of Silva.
Okay, no surprise to us.
Having gone 5 years in MMA with a record of 14-3 with 11 knockouts, in March of 2001, the Brazilian earned a showdown with Kazushi Sakuraba. The Japanese star was considered the best grappler in the organization, if not the whole world.
Has go for the knee bar. Situation here, folks.
Saku tortured the famous Gracie clan for years.
Look at this with the knee. Good right hand.
Go for toe hold.
Spanking him.
And humiliated Vitor Belfort like it was nothing.
Sakuraba jumping on Vitor, pounding him.
On a special occasion, Tito Ortiz was invited to the ring holding flowers.
We'll take the flowers and gives him a kiss.
The axe murderer was not distracted one bit. He burned a hole through Sakuraba during the stare down, and enforced a no hostage policy after it.
Moving forward. Sakuraba with a low kick. Wanderlei going to the knees. Wanderlei really.
As it turned out, Kazushi ran on a similar platform,
Sakuraba. Oh, good right hand.
and soon launched a counter-offensive.
Two guys before. Sakuraba shoots for a knockout here. He's got him.
It was all in vain, however.
Sakuraba.
The samurai held the fort during a storm and paid a bitter price.
He could not. Sakuraba's got a tuck and roll. He's got a full guard. Oh my God! The referee goes right.
Stemming from the results of this confrontation, Sakuraba completely lost the aura of invincibility, and Wanderlei received a symbolic belt.
Favors the Muay Thai fighter.
In their November rematch, a real inaugural title was on the line in the 205-pound division, called middleweight in Pride. This time, the Japanese changed levels immediately. Still, the Brazilian shut down the grappling savant's effort, sprang back up, and started dishing out in the clinch.
Voice Gracie.
Whoa, knees to the body, knees to the head.
Wanderlei opening up, and Sakuraba diving for the takedown.
Kazushi wasn't out of danger at range either.
Range is going to get hurt. Oh, he almost ate a high kick there. Oh, Sakuraba took.
The outcome was decided by a guillotine attempt.
Sakuraba picking up, slamming him. He still got hold.
Wow. And even if he would have had it, he couldn't finish in time. So
Very even match.
Very.
A high-octane slam rendered Sakuraba unable to continue. Thus, a Brazilian name appeared on the promotion's belt.
5-pound weight division.
With Japan's greatest fighter's scalp in his collection, other locals were nothing but a treat for Von.
Right hand. Silva with a big right hand. Silva raging in. Silva drops
already, but I think he's going to be outclassed there by Wanderlei Silva.
Going to go for the ground and pound. Going to go for the soccer kick, and there's a kick by Wanderlei Silva blasting away.
Doomed kamikazes threw themselves under the axe and got slain one after another.
And a right hand. Oh! Wanderlei knocked it. There it is. That's it. That's it.
Silva's biggest moment of 2002 was the battle against Pride's big acquisition, Mirko Cro Cop. The famous cemetery high kick wielder has long been considered a star in K1. In MMA, though, this was only his fourth performance.
Oh boy!
This is the first time where Wanderlei lost a stare down. Wanderlei was used to staring guys down and they would be intimidated, and Cro Cop looked at him like he was dinner.
Despite the Croatian's formidable appearance, Von was landing takedowns with ease.
We saw that against Henderson.
Wanderlei going for the takedown and gets it!
Throwing heat on the ground,
Takedown. I think he never expected.
and doing well in the stand-up.
Oh! That was a good right hand for Wanderlei there. Oh! What a kick to the body. To the liver!
Wanderlei got the lock. Oh, Wanderlei's got it!
In response, Cro Cop unleashed successive body kicks. He failed to find a follow-up, but according to special rules of the bout, the scrap ended in a draw.
Without question.
In 2003, Pride put together a middleweight Grand Prix for the ages, set to reveal the best across all organizations. In the quarterfinal, poor Sakuraba was unlucky enough to run into Wanderlei again. Kazushi abided by the same game plan and engaged in an all-out war.
Oh, look at this.
Good chance of winning this time.
And there's a left that connects by Sakuraba.
The Japanese gent stubbornly stood a couple of hooks away from the most dangerous man on the planet.
Wants to start. Oh, look at that.
I'll tell you.
And it cost him dearly.
Gonna land. But these
knockout.
And
He's
there it
knockout.
is. And there it is.
No.
And there it is.
Silva's 1-2 found a home, and Saku's resuscitation took longer than the fight itself. An acclaimed judoka, Hidehiko Yoshida, opposed Vond in the semifinal. The Olympic gold medalist wasted no time striking. The Brazilian answered with an underhook getup.
Nice brawl.
Wanderlei. Up.
And went for broke the moment his feet touched the canvas.
First round loss. And there's there's
nice.
a good high roundhouse left.
Yes.
And there's a
Nice
knee
knee
to
to
the
the
head, the
head.
left knee. And now they are exchanging blows. Both fighters getting some.
Yoshida fought as if on Vicodin.
And a good right by Yoshida.
Nice.
And another one as the blows exchange.
Still, no amount of painkillers could alleviate the agony of defeat.
That knee is sitting up the left. There's a high kick that lands. Yoshida.
A convincing decision win advanced Silva to the final versus Quinton Jackson. By that point, Rampage had been practicing signature slams in the Pride ring for 3 years.
From chance of blasting in and getting.
Look at this.
And became the #1 contender, ruining former UFC heavyweight champ Kevin Randleman. He and Vond had a nasty scuffle back then.
It's on.
But the title fight was canceled because of the Grand Prix. Quinton was not a happy camper about it, and melted the Iceman himself in the semifinal, the great Chuck Liddell. Oozing with confidence, the finalists faced off in the center. Silva gave up a takedown from the get-go.
Rampage hunting him down. There's the takedown.
He's got one arm in between. There's
I think he's
And was forced to withstand ground and pound.
Al trying to raise down. There's the knee to the head.
As soon as they got up, the axe murderer went into Ripper mode.
Misses the kick there. A good
nice knee, nice knee
And now
inside.
it's
Nice kick, nice chopping kick.
Follows it with the left eye.
Again with the knees.
And his lips bent in a terrifying grin.
Look at him smile at him right there.
He is. Wanderlei smiling at him. And that is it.
That's the end of it right there.
That is it.
Eating a high kick like a KFC drumstick, Jackson gorged on the knee dessert and fell victim to Wanderlei's charm.
I think they might have been smiling at each other. We only saw it from one angle, I think.
Meanwhile, this was only the beginning of the conflict. Preparing for an inevitable sequel, Silva had a tune-up fight against Ikuhisa Minua.
Here we go.
Rocking briefs, the Japanese fighter made a move first with a takedown attempt. But when Mad Engine starts, Minua Man immediately goes flat.
He's out. I told you, he hits like a mule.
The axe murderer has always been quick to switch from chill to kill, and that night was no different.
Dominate the world of Taekwondo.
In the wake of their second clash with Rampage on Halloween of 2004, Silva step-danced on the dome of former UFC title challenger Yuki Kondo.
On the run, and he knocks him down. There's a stomp, another stomp. Make it 4 stomps, and he is finished.
Rampage, in turn, scored arguably the greatest obliteration in the history of the sport.
I told you, he picked him up and slammed him to the ground. He's out.
Jackson went into the title rematch with a wide smile.
Meets him with a smile.
He obviously made defensive improvements and got to work South Central Menace way.
Nicely done. And now Jackson unloaded, blocking low kick delivered by Silva. Now we have a nice exchange. Nice knee. All right, here we go.
Vaughn simply smirked and let the cleavers fly.
Silva gets busy, tie clinch, and a couple of knees delivered. Now Jackson looking for a tie clinch, uppercut misses. Wow.
To close the 10-minute round, the fight of the year got even more heated, leading to a knockdown.
Less than a minute. Capitalized now on the ground.
But the Brazilian's favela experience allowed him to last until the break.
The round has to be over.
When the fierce skirmish picked up in the second,
Let's go. Silva now, fearing that, yes, this fight has turned around. He comes out flying, and now the strikes continue.
Silva recreated the outcome of the first meeting with shocking accuracy.
1:45 remaining round 2, and Jackson walks into a right hand, and he's stunned. He's rounded. Time lived out the middleweight tournament. Oh my God, Jackson has been knocked out.
Throwing a dynamite of right hand, Vaughn extinguished the light in the enemy's eyes with devastating knees. The unsettling image of Rampage's limp body was a perfect justification for the axe murderer's moniker. Having reached an absolute peak with an unbeaten streak of 18 performances with 14 knockouts, the Brazilian bit off more than he could chew. In December of 2004, the Shootbox alum jumped into the ring with K1 champion Mark Hunt, who was 80 pounds heavier.
Mirko Cro Cop kicked him full in the head. It wasn't 80.
Silva spent the whole contest blasting fireballs at every opportunity.
Oh my gosh. Whoa. Big right hand.
The look on your face right now is like you're a kid in a candy store.
He secured multiple takedowns
Nice takedown. Striking ability. Oh, big uppercut. You don't
and was constantly looking to wreck the Super Samoan.
looking for the head stomp. Soccer kick misses.
But Vaughn himself got hurt badly more than once.
Trying to unload with the lefts and rights, and again he's down. And there's still now it's Hunt.
Think he saw it.
Surviving another tough landing,
Uppercut. And hurt him.
and Hunt's trademark atomic butt drop.
Oh my gosh. The atomic butt drop.
The Brazilian ended up on the losing end of a controversial decision, his first defeat in 5 years.
Pride fighting.
The 16-man Grand Prix in 2005 didn't go Wanderlei's way either. The sequel with Yoshida was a mirror image of the first fight,
Weighed in at 200 pounds, and here's the slugfest, the fans, and
including its outcome.
between Yoshida and Silva.
Here we go.
There's the axe stomper.
A rising Japanese star, Kazuhiro Nakamura, became a sacrificial lamb on the Brazilian Kratos' altar.
Talk about. Oh, hey! All right. Oh, that he should have done. Really trying to avoid this brutal onslaught of punches.
Luck betrayed Silva in the semifinal. A grappler from Brazil, Ricardo Arona, was able to withstand a barrage of heavy artillery.
Now Silva comes in, but Arona delivers a knee, but again. But again, now Silva closes.
Then he would get the compatriot down to the floor.
Fans have dreamed about. There's on again, Arona.
Yep, he knows the clock is ticking, and he knows he has to do something. Oh, nice.
Now
move there.
Arona bull rushes and takedown.
And score points on the way to winning a decision.
Landing some lefts and rights. Ricardo Arona has done what.
To the delight of the Shootbox team, Wanderlei's friend, Young Shogun, dealt with Arona in the final.
Look at that! It's over! It's over! Unbelievable!
Fast forward 4 months, Silva also got back at his offender, turning the wrestling game plan against him.
Arona and has him on the canvas. Oh, and a knee right there.
Great takedown.
The fans also anticipating that some fireworks will happen here in the final minute and a half of this title fight.
Despite the victory and a 4th title defense, that evening became a turning point in Wanderlei's career. Right before the rematch with Arona, Silva witnessed a scuffle between Charles Bennett and Cristiano Marcelo in the locker room. Waking up after being strangled, disoriented Bennett sucker punched Vaughn and knocked him out. He suddenly turned around and punched me, hit me right on the chin. I remember sitting on the bench and asking the coach, "What happened?" He says, "This guy just knocked you out." Whether it was a coincidence or wear and tear starting to take its toll, but in the next 2 years in Pride, Silva showed clear signs of decline. '06 took off well, when Vond was a slot-in to replace the Great Fedor as part of the open-weight Grand Prix. He was confronted by Kazuki Ironhead Fujita, who made the last Emperor sweat bullets 3 years prior.
Fedor's in huge trouble here!
In the quarterfinal, the thick-skulled scientific mystery was bald during the stare-down.
The crowd ready to explode.
Still, Silva promptly found the rhythm with his signature pendulum swings.
Now Fujita attacks him. Wow. Silva now coming back.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Fujita survived and took the fight to the floor.
Oh, whoa!
Vond nearly tore off the adversary's arm.
Very difficult.
Wow!
Fujita survives yet again.
Back on the feet, he began hunting down the mangled Ironhead.
Overhand right and left and right, and now he snipes him again.
Soon, generous punching investments started paying dividends.
Into the final.
Oh my gosh! I can't believe he got back up. He's still in this.
It looks like referee was gonna stop the fighting.
Dropped twice in a row, the wobbled Kazuki had enough.
Oh my God!
Wanderlei
Can you
Silva
believe it?
knocks out Kazuki Ironhead.
Come September, Silva was scheduled to rematch the knockout dynamo Mirko Cro Cop in the semifinal. 4 years have passed since their first collision, and in that time, the Croatian went from an MMA novice to a hard-nosed veteran of 25 fights.
High kick it down goes Igor. He is out.
MMA fans wanted a dream match and dream.
Both athletes got to work at the outset.
To get to Cro Cop, you have to be aggressive. Oh my gosh!
Nevertheless, windmill punches were no match for Mirko's sharpshooting approach.
Left hand as well as there's Silva. The one thing on Silva is his wild.
And by the 2-minute mark, Wanderlei plummeted.
You can see Silva's got. Oh no! He got dropped! He got dropped!
The swelling caused by the grounded pound severely obstructed the Brazilian's vision.
Really recover here if he wants to win this fight.
Backstanding, Cro Cop preoccupied the antagonist with body kicks
Another nice middle kick delivered.
and went up top.
Cro Cop.
Oh no!
We told you the left high kick has sent many opponents to the MMA.
This cemetery high kick deserved Knockout of the Year honors, and its author eventually won the Grand Prix and became the Fighter of the Year. 5 months down the line, Dan Henderson also got his chance at revenge. Over the years, the American's H-bomb turned into a trademark and brought along a plethora of knockouts.
And opening up with a
Shots! He's got him down! He's got him down! Can you finish the fight?
yes.
As well as the title, one weight class below.
Ready, go. Henderson.
Silva entered part 2 suffering from the flu and looking excessively bulky. Nevertheless, as long as the Brazilian was fresh, the audience was witnessing a blitzkrieg of violent hooks from both sides.
This guy on the ground. Is it because Henderson?
Oh, Henderson's right! He's hurt! He's hurt! He's hurt! Good! Oh, nice!
By round number 3, Wanderlei's gas tank was empty, and he lingered in the danger zone for too long.
Low kicks from Wanderlei. How do you like that one?
All Hendo had to do was line him up for a kill shot. Dan found the target with a spinning back fist, and when the H-bomb wasn't enough, the American added a nuclear left hook for good measure. Thus, not long before Pride's collapse in 2007, Wanderlei lost the title.
Also, the Pride middleweight champion.
Disproving rumors of retirement, the 31-year-old Silva signed a contract with the UFC. His opponent was none other than Chuck Liddell, someone Wanderlei had been eager to throw down with for a while.
I want to fight with Chuck here. Chuck.
Wanderlei Silva versus Chuck Liddell here in Las Vegas!
The Iceman had been the guy to beat at light heavyweight in the UFC for many years.
Yeah, Randy might be hurt. Randy trying to close in though now. And he goes down. He's down. And Chuck
And managed to defend the title 4 times. More recently, Chuck handed the strap over to Rampage.
Left hook to the bottom.
So he was open to a fun fight with Silva. The old school alumni meeting was held in December of 2007. Nasty exchanges were not long in coming,
Wanderlei backing up.
and continued throughout the opening stretch.
Chuck looking early for a finish.
In the second, Von said screw the game plan and let the hooks fly.
Now here's Silva.
He was in full control halfway through.
Oh, Chuck is down, but just for a moment.
And even scored a knockdown.
Chuck's got a little cut. Over his right eye. Chuck goes down again. Good right back up.
Silva's axe was swinging so hard that by the end of the round, the Iceman was forced to find shelter wrestling.
Liddell's got a leg.
Catching his breath during the break, Liddell delivered a bomb.
Silva was hurt. Oh,
and burned all the fuel pursuing the finish.
All over Wanderlei Silva.
Wanderlei survived and charged forward with a shattered face.
Teeing off again. Silva's wobbly.
Right hand by Wanderlei. He's going to put it up, try to put him away. This is it.
Take down fist. The Iceman Liddell is back.
And while Liddell's hand was raised following 15 minutes of action, the fans were the real winners.
Wanderlei Silva, ladies and gentlemen.
That man.
Eventually, Silva gained a foothold in the UFC, but never reached quite the same heights he did in his 20s. The axe murderer suffered from injuries, lost here and there, and lost hard.
Good left hand. Silva is out. Quick hands early. Big shot by Lieben. Lieben looking to finish him. Chris Lieben trying to finish Silva.
Be that as it may, Von has always been living proof that no matter how fast enemies run, fate always catches up.
Throw some of those knees, it could be good night.
Oh, big
and
right
down
hand.
goes Jardine.
He's in trouble. That's it.
Is all huge.
If the Brazilian won, he did so in violent fashion. Kung Lee being a perfect illustration.
Look for a knee and a head kick.
Oh, big right hand. Again.
Wanderlei's ruthless slugfest with former UFC champion Rich Franklin became instant classics. In their first encounter, both threw heavy leather for 15 minutes.
Pushing forward.
He landed another one
again.
He loves a brawl.
Uh-oh. Coming forward on Rich Franklin.
Finishing with a rabid exchange.
Elbows from the back. Punches from the front. What a way to finish.
The second rendezvous was no different.
Under a minute on the clock here in the second. Silva pushing forward.
There's the windmill. There's the knees.
And again he connects. Rich throws him aside.
Right hand.
After mutual knockdowns,
Right hand. Oh! Swinging wildly to the finish. Wanderlei Silva. Rich Franklin. Rich hand is over.
the American came out of the Dilogy the winner by decision. During the 6-year-long UFC stint, a lot has changed outside the cage. Upon moving to the US, Silva opened his own training center in Las Vegas, a substitute for Shootbox. Howbeit, the most striking transformation was in appearance.
Wanderlei didn't get Botox. He had his face reconstructed because his nose, he had been in so many brawls, they took a chunk of his rib and rebuilt his nose, and he had his nose built big so he could breathe out of it more. And then he had all the scar tissue removed from his eyebrows and then pulled back.
Still, Von carried the same axe murderer mentality and couldn't simply fade into retirement. By March 2013, he came back to form, got the main event spot in Japan in the same Saitama Arena opposite Brian Stan, and each spectator got a bang for their buck.
We are underway.
The crowd was witnessing an insane slugfest from the word go, one that would make a seasoned fan shed a nostalgic tear.
Landing on the inside for Stan, to there, and Wanderlei says, bring it! And they're slugging away, Silva.
Before the break, the Brazilian was finding more and more openings. And the American got chinned in a sloppy exchange.
For Stan, Wanderlei goes down again, but now Stan goes down! Brian Stan is hurt, but he's right back!
Things picked up where they left off in the second frame.
Very even when you're talking about
And Wanderlei put icing on the cake.
the leg of Wanderlei Silva. Huge shot in from Wanderlei Silva. His hands in trouble. Oh my God, he's out! What a tremendous fight!
The 37-year-old Silva unleashed his murderous combination and nailed Stan to the canvas. The Fight of the Year acclaim and 2 bonuses went to the knockout machine.
Lead leg of Wanderlei Silva. Shooting shot in!
The usually restrained Japanese crowd sent off their idol with a standing ovation. Vaughn retired from active competition with this bout. His quarrel with Chael Sonnen became viral. But they both got suspended for having rocket fuel in their systems. However, the 2017 Veterans League scrap was worth a watch.
Their fists, their feet. Silva creating distance. Sonnen gets in the air with the right hand by Silva. Sonnen comes in the attack. He clipped Wanderlei. And now they're swinging for the fences at Madison Square Garden. And
to sum it up, Chael was taking Wanderlei down and grinding out a decision.
Chael,
A year later, Silva split a retirement bonus with Rampage and never fought since.
So you can use that counter.
Jackson lands a jab. Upstairs. It's on Rampage. Rampage.
The record is set in stone at 35-14 with 27 brutal demolitions.
2 MMA icons.
Wanderlei Silva competed against the best when the best were all in Pride FC. He set the promotion's eternal records for wins, knockouts, title defenses, and had the longest unbeaten streak.
Landing the left hook and the right hand.
A merciless axe murderer who became the heart and soul of an entire era. They just don't make them like that anymore.
Oh, God.
Nice kick, nice chopper kick. Follows it with the legs. Wanderlei smiling at him, and that is it.
145 remaining round 2.
If you want to see more Legends of Combat Sports, soccer kick the like button, subscribe to the channel, and vote for sport.
In his illustrious MMA career, and what a great show of sportsmanship here. This is what separates mixed martial arts from any other sport in the world. Surgery, right? Since the tournament, did he not have elbows?
No, he had...